Welcome back from the break. Glad you're still watching Morning at NTV. We are streaming live on our website, ntv.co.ug, as well as our social media. Now, there is renewed hope in the national and global drive to end HIV/AIDS as a public threat by 2030. And the Makerere University Johns Hopkins University Research Collaboration says new research is underway to extend the protection that is offered by the Lenacapavir, an injectable HIV prevention drug that is currently administered every 6 months to once-a-year dose. Now, Uganda is preparing to approve the Lenacapavir for use in the country by the end of 2025, and that is according to the Uganda AIDS Commission. I'll be speaking to Dr. Daniel Byamukama. He is the head of the HIV Protection Program, that is the Uganda AIDS Commission. But before we get into that conversation, Norbert Atkunda has more details in this report.
The United States Food and Drug Administration approved the use of Lenacapavir for use in HIV prevention in mid-June. The drug, administered via injection just twice a year, offers convenient alternative to the existing daily oral PrEP and other injectable options. According to the Uganda AIDS Commission, Lenacapavir could be a game changer in HIV prevention, especially for individuals who struggle with adherence to the existing tools.
It's very highly effective in preventing HIV acquisition. It's the first time we're having a tool which is 100% effective. Number two, it is convenient to use. It's an injection which is given 6 monthly. That means 2 injections, subcutaneous, below the skin injections. 2 injections in a year. We believe that brings relief to many people who have trouble in using so many of our available tools.
Government is currently assessing the drug for inclusion in the country's HIV prevention approach. Approval will require submission of relevant documentation by the manufacturer, followed by validation and clearance from the National Drug Authority. Uganda AIDS Commission is hoping that the drug will be approved for use by the end of this year once all paperwork is done.
So we expect that approval to be swift. So we expect, if they make an application by the end of this year, we expect it will not take more than another 6 months before that approval is attained. And we already are aware that the manufacturer is prioritizing Uganda among others few sub-Saharan countries where they will be making this application.
Despite the excitement, cost remains a concern. The current figure suggests the injection could cost over 103 million shillings per person, money well beyond the reach of most Ugandans.
Figures we are seeing in the papers, they are estimates. I don't think Gilead has come up to say Lenacapavir will cost this much, but we know that as expected, it should be high. To be honest, it's out of reach for Africa. But fortunately, even before FDA approved Lenacapavir, Gilead had gone into an agreement with 6 generic manufacturers, and they're going to be able to make the cheaper versions, more affordable versions of Lenacapavir, that's Sub-Saharan Africa.
However, the Makerere University Johns Hopkins University Research Collaboration says Uganda is among high-risk countries prioritized for subsidized access through agreements.
So they'll be able to provide the brand drugs at a more affordable price. What the generic would cost, they are ready to provide it for our countries. And indeed, we are seeing that some funders already are interested in having Uganda, in particular, access Lenacapavir. End of next year, we should be able to roll out the drug in Uganda.
Uganda played a key role in clinical trials for Lenacapavir. The studies conducted in Masaka, Mubende and Kalangala focused on adolescent and young women aged 16 to 25 years.
For the injection, it worked 100%. No girl got HIV in Purpose 1, showing that the injection protected them 100%. Male and female, everyone can use Lenacapavir for HIV prevention. Because in some countries the age varies, the legal age varies, but as long as someone is about 15 and above and they weigh 35, they're old enough and they're active, they can get Lenacapavir.
She added that the injection is safe for use in pregnant women. Dr. Matovu also revealed that scientists are currently investigating whether Lenacapavir can be reformulated for once-a-year administration.
Research is ongoing to make sure that we get a longer and even longer acting injection up to 1 year, such that someone only takes one injection in a year. Maybe you say 1st of January, or on your birthday, or on Christmas or Easter, some date that can help you remember just once in a year. So it's good news, and very soon we are sure that we shall have it also. We shall have the sponsor apply for approval from the authorities, and it will be coming in the years to come.
The World Health Organization has welcomed the FDA approval and announced it will release official guidelines on Lenacapavir use on July 14, 2025, during the International AIDS Conference in Kigali. According to the Uganda AIDS Commission, over 1.5 million people are currently living with HIV in the country. Adults aged 15 years and above remain the most affected demographic. Norbert Atkunda, NTV News.
Thank you so much, Norbert Atukunda. And now joining me to help us understand everything to do with Lenacapavir is Dr. Daniel Byamukama. He is the head of the HIV program that is at the Uganda AIDS Commission. Welcome, Doctor, to the show.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Please bring us up to date on this drug called Lenacapavir, and how does it work so far? Also, what is its applicability?
Thank you. So Lenacapavir is a form of pre-exposure prophylaxis. As a country, we're already running a pre-exposure prophylaxis program. Pre-exposure prophylaxis is where we give HIV negative people who are at risk of contracting HIV, we give them medication. These are antiretroviral drugs to minimize or even eliminate their risk of contracting HIV.
Yes.
So Lenacapavir comes as a new tool in that category of ARVs, which we give HIV negative people at a high risk of contracting HIV to reduce their risk. You may ask, why do we bother? So Lenacapavir comes in, as the news person said, it has caused excitement.
Yes.
Number one, it is 100% effective. During research, all the people who received Lenacapavir, they were followed up, and they are young women. We know that in this country, the highest number of new HIV infections are occurring among young women, most especially between the age of 15 and 29. These were targeting this research. So there are significant infections occurring in that age bracket.
Yes.
But all the young women who received this injection, it is given every 6 months. None of them contracted HIV. We are having a problem of new HIV infections among adolescent girls and young women. We have implemented various innovations to reduce their risk and vulnerability, but we are not making progress as we would want to make. You are well aware that we're implementing the Presidential Fast Track Initiative to end AIDS as a public health threat. So the country has a commitment and has set it up itself that by 2030, there will be no further HIV transmission. But there are still so many contracting HIV. Last year, there were 36,000. A significant number of those are adolescent girls and young women.
Young women, yes.
So we are risking defaulting on our commitment to end the new HIV infections by 2030. So the invasion of the Lenacapavir brings excitement. It looks like, of all the tools we already had, for us to make significant gains towards ending new HIV infections, we needed an additional tool. So the Lenacapavir comes in, number one, it's highly effective, 100%, and it is convenient. When we look at our PrEP program, we have been giving like 3 main types of PrEP. The commonest and the oldest is the daily oral pill. There are so many challenges with the daily oral pill. The first one, of course, is the daily pill burden. There are very few people who are disciplined to take the medication every day.
Some may skip it,
So there's a challenge. But beyond the personal challenge, there's a challenge of stigma. People who see you taking the daily pill, they would want to categorize you as a some woman. Morally, you are in a lower rank. So they stigmatize the people, and people end up defaulting. Yet we know that the people we prioritize for pre-exposure prophylaxis, they are people at high risk of contracting HIV. Some of them, not because of their own misbehavior, but many people live in circumstances where they are disempowered to exercise control over their sexual behavior.
Yes.
And we need to protect such people. Examples, they are adolescent girls and young women. They often live in arrangements where they are the least powerful, often abused and taken advantage of. But there are other people, like sex workers. You'll be surprised that a significant number of sex workers are married. A significant number of sex workers have customers who are regular men and in the society.
Yes.
If we do not protect the sex workers, they will contract HIV. It will end up in our homes. So we need to prioritize that. And now Lenacapavir comes in to remove what we saw as a challenge faced by the already existing tools. The challenge of stigma and the challenge of adherence. It removes those. We believe it will add significant momentum in our fight to end new HIV infections in this country.
I'm glad you talked about excitement that is surrounding this injectable drug, Lenacapavir. But it appears approval processes are still going on. It's still being approved to come into the country. Do you think we should still be excited, or there should be cause for concern?
It is not. It shouldn't be cause for concern. We have the right to be excited because good news. And you know, we're a global community.
Yes.
What happens in America eventually ends up here. So we're excited. And some of the research that proved the effectiveness of Lenacapavir was done in this country. So we're excited. Finally, there is hope that we can make a significant dent in the new HIV infections. We have the reason to be excited. And that excitement will cause a movement, will create the momentum, will create the advocacy to force or to motivate whoever has what to do, who should do something, to do it in a timely manner. Because we need this Lenacapavir now so that it can contribute to our goal of ending AIDS by 2030, 5 years from today. We don't need it next year. So we're excited. That excitement will result in civil society going and creating demand. Mobilizing the potential users across the country. It will result in advocacy with the National Drug Authority. So a key responsibility now lies with the National Drug Authority, approving the use of that drug. But before they approve, Gilead, the manufacturer, who is American, it was recently approved in America in mid-June. But we are aware that of all the priority countries where they want to make an application for marketing this drug, we are on top of the priority. So we expect they will be coming to Uganda. So our excitement, I hope our brothers and sisters at the National Drug Authority, they are listening in, they know we are waiting for this drug. We are helpful. It will contribute significantly to attaining our Presidential Fast Track Initiative goal of ending AIDS. So we have the right to be excited.
Absolutely.
To make everybody who has something to do also get the excitement, and they do it.
Earlier on, you talked about the advantages of Lenacapavir over the other preventive measures, but I'd like to know where you, the science community, where you place Lenacapavir in the line of preventive measures. You know, as per now, we have condoms. You also mentioned the PrEP, the daily pills that we take every now and then. Where would you place Lenacapavir?
Now, that is not a straightforward, has no straightforward answer. I must emphasize that there is no tool that works well for every individual. There is no one size fits all. Some people fear an injection to death. Lenacapavir will not work for them.
Yes.
But some people, because of the challenges they have with the other tools, take an example, condom use. So many people still face so much stigma in walking to a pharmacy or a shop and ordering for a condom.
Yes.
So many people would rather not face that shame of ordering for a condom, and they end up going without.
Yes, yes.
So there are challenges with all these tools, but we offer a combination set of intervention. Some of them are behavioral, some of them are social structure, some of them are biomedical, like Lenacapavir. So we cannot grade them. But considering that there is a target population, a group of people who were at high risk, who were already interested in using pre-exposure prophylaxis. We recently did a research among sex workers across the country. We discovered that 80% would want to use this pre-exposure prophylaxis. But only like 20% have ever accessed it or
Yes.
find the daily pill convenient for them. So we believe, and we know why they are having a challenge. I've said it is because of stigma, it is because of adherence, the daily pill. So we believe Lenacapavir, for that category of people, the high-risk people who are the target for Lenacapavir, among pre-exposure prophylaxis, it is, I think, on the high rank. But as the national prevention program, we shall have to continue with all the other pillars, including the behavior change, calling upon parents, teachers, religious leaders to continue teaching us about morality, being faithful, behavior change, abstinence. That campaign, Lenacapavir cannot substitute that campaign. That is the primary. Let the parent, let the teacher, let the religious leader, let the community leader target young people, impart on them the right morals, abstinence, be faithful. But we know many people fail. The other option would have been condom, which is much cheaper.
Absolutely.
But we know it is a highly stigmatized tool, so even so many people fail to use it. But the most important of all is that the cost of putting somebody on lifelong treatment is so high. It is not comparable to offering prevention. Either it's pre-exposure prophylaxis, whether it's condom or circumcision, it's not comparable. And we need to have that debate with our policymakers who should give us the money to make Lenacapavir available.
To implement, yes. Now, you talked about Lenacapavir clinical trials also being conducted here in Uganda, among other countries. But let's now address the elephant in the room. That is the hefty cost for the drug. Is it really realistic for Ugandans? Is it going to be an attainable option for many Ugandans, considering the numbers that we have? You talked about having 36,000 new infections last year.
So that's good. That's a pertinent question. Right now, it looks out of reach for most Ugandans, 99.9%. But the good news is that they have not set the price. So I think the price they are giving us now is for manufacturing the drug. But we have learned excitement for this drug is all over the world. So we expect the market to be so big. And like other products we have seen before, which come at the start with a high price, when the market is big and huge, these prices come significantly down. So it is our hope that, like other drugs before it, when everybody has put in their requests, expressed interest, the final price tag for this Lenacapavir. And you know, this excitement that we have right now will turn into real advocacy. Advocacy with the manufacturer to make sure this drug is affordable, for most of the people. Most of the people contracting HIV are in poor countries. And even within poor countries, they are in the most disadvantaged communities. They will not have. They need this market. But we are hoping that the bigger the market, the lower the price it will be. We believe in the long run, within a year, this price we shall have come down
to come down a little bit.
Affordable.
You've heard it from Dr. Daniel Byamukama. The 100.8 million is not set in stone. A price will be figured out down the line. Now, how was the drug developed? Also, do you see any opportunities for generic versions of the drug coming to like Uganda in the foreseeable future? Yes, absolutely.
So, generic drugs usually bring in an element of affordability. Right now, as one of the researchers presented in the news piece, Gilead, the manufacturer of this drug, which is an American company, has already contracted several generic manufacturers, which is good. Most often, when researchers develop a new drug, they take a long time to contract the generic manufacturers. But this partner or this research organization, which has been a key researcher in the HIV space, has already cooperated, engaged generic manufacturers, which means they should be able to manufacture affordable drugs that will flood our market. And the generic drug does not mean less effective drugs.
Absolutely.
Because we have the National Drug Authority, which keeps an eye on the quality of the drug to make sure it is appropriate and safe for use by Ugandans. So we can assure you that whether we get the branded drug or the generic drug, we have a system to ensure that the drug that ends up here is appropriate and fit for use by Ugandans.
All right, as we wrap up, I'd love to know your thoughts on whether there are any possible side effects to this Lenacapavir drug, but also clear the stereotypes many Ugandans have of I prefer drugs that are made in India compared to the ones made like in Germany or even America or even England and vice versa.
Yeah. I think now there are two things. We are looking at a possibility when this drug becomes available, to allow the private sector to participate meaningfully. So that those who want the drug that is made in Germany can have the pleasure of going and buying it at $10,000.
Yes.
Because they can afford it. But as I said earlier, most of the new HIV infections are occurring among the least disadvantaged. They don't mind. It is the duty of the National Drug Authority and the Ministry of Health to ensure that they get the free drug and a safe drug, and I know they will be satisfied. And I think for us, those are our main concern. They are the most affected. They're the ones most likely to be left behind. So we will. So the stereotype, I mean, some of the challenges we have seen is that there is already a pushback that this drug is going to encourage promiscuity. I want to allay the anxiety of our population, and especially our policymakers, is that Lenacapavir is pre-exposure prophylaxis. We have been in the business of implementing pre-exposure prophylaxis programs. I've talked about that we have been implementing the daily pill.
Yes.
We have another injection called long-acting cabotegravir. That one is given every 2 months. We have been monitoring the people we give this drug. Even in research setting, we test whether these drugs disinhibit the people.
Yes.
But I can assure the public and our policymakers that indeed your fear that the drug will disinhibit the people and we get promiscuous people all over the place, it is not true. It's not founded in science.
Yes.
So we ask especially our policymakers to give us money. We already have Global Fund, who is our key implementing partner.
Yes.
As you are well aware, our other major partner, who was PEPFAR, the US government, has withdrawn funding for prevention. So we're counting on only Global Fund.
Yes.
It cannot give us enough money to reach everybody. We're counting on the government to give us the money to give this drug to the people, because the cost of putting people on treatment lifelong is actually much higher.
Also not, it's not cheaper in the long run, yes. Well, I've been talking to Dr. Daniel Byamukama, the head of the HIV Protection Program, that is the Uganda AIDS Commission. I wish we had more